Rachel was driving home from her sister's house after a long day of visiting. As she drove on the highway, she noticed something strange in the sky. At first, she thought it was a plane, but as she got closer, she realized it was a UFO. The object was hovering in the sky with strange lights flashing underneath it. Rachel was mesmerized by the sight, and she almost drove off the road because she was so focused on the UFO. As Rachel continued to watch the UFO, she noticed something strange happening in the sky nearby. A shooting star appeared to be headed straight for the mountain in the distance. Rachel watched in amazement as the shooting star suddenly exploded, lighting up the night sky. It was a beautiful sight, but almost weary. And Rachel couldn't believe what she was witnessing. After a few minutes, the UFO started to move away, and Rachel continued driving home. It was strange, because there were a lot of cars on the highway with her. She wondered, did anyone else see that? She couldn't stop thinking about what she had just seen. Was it really a UFO, or was it just her imagination? She couldn't be sure. But one thing was certain. She had just witnessed something incredible. When Rachel arrived home, she immediately told her boyfriend about what she had seen. He listened intently, but didn't seem too surprised. But after tonight's experience, she wasn't so sure anymore. As Rachel got ready for bed, she couldn't shake the feeling of excitement and wonder that she had just experienced earlier. She couldn't wait to tell her sister and her friends about what she had seen. It was a moment that she would never forget, and one that would make her a believer in the possibilities of what could exist beyond our world. Well, how great was that? Rachel and the UFO. I hope you liked my short story, but I wanted to tell you that that short story is actually somewhat true. Well, Rachel is a fictional character. That actually happened to me here in New Mexico. On the evening of February 5th, which was a Sunday, I was driving home to Santa Fe from Albuquerque on I-25, of course, heading north. There was a lot of traffic that evening, which was pretty surprising. And I think this was around the same time as the Chinese spy balloon phenomenon. So keep that in mind. While I was driving on I-25 heading north, I spotted something in the sky that looked like a star. And it was really, really bright. And as I got closer to it, it got bigger. And that's when I thought, well, that's not a star because it wouldn't be doing that, obviously. As I got closer, the thing got brighter, it got bigger. It was probably the size of, I don't know, maybe a small car. It was really bright. And as I drove just kind of almost underneath it, I even had a quick moment to look under. You know, when you're driving, you don't want to get distracted, but I did manage to kind of look under it, and I could see that there were like 3 or more small red lights kind of blinking underneath it. I couldn't get anything else out of it because I was driving and I didn't want to steer off the road. But I thought, whoa, is this a UFO? Is it a drone? Is it another spy balloon? Is it a weather balloon? I don't know. It could have been a number of different things, but it was really cool to witness that. And then as I got closer to my exit, there are a couple of hills that you will see to your right as you're entering Santa Fe, coming north from Albuquerque. And just over the horizon, I spotted what looked like a shooting star go over one of those hills and then erupt. But this time was different from other shooting stars that I've witnessed. This one just exploded. It looked like an explosion. And I thought, that's kind of weird. Like that wouldn't normally happen. And so I got home, I told my boyfriend about the whole thing, and I was really excited. I was geeking out. While he's very supportive of my stories, and I have witnessed other things, including supernatural things in the past, all throughout my life actually, he wasn't so thrilled, or I guess I should say he didn't have the reaction that I expected him to have. You know, like I expected him to be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, you're the coolest person ever, let's sell the story. I don't know. But I had that in my head for the rest of the night, and then the next day, which was a Monday, I got together with a group of people over dinner, and we were having dinner because we were getting together for a project that we're filming later that week. And I thought it would be funny or cool or interesting to bring up the story, not expecting anybody to, you know, go crazy over it. But it turns out that I was telling the story, one of the guys who's part of the crew was listening intently and then said that he had actually witnessed the same exact thing that I had. And we were both sharing this moment because I felt, maybe he did too, so validated that somebody had actually experienced something so fascinating and crazy and confusing, such as this event. And then we got all just talking about how New Mexico is such a hot spot for this type of phenomenon and events, and has such a weird and fascinating history on UFO sightings and scientific labs and what seems to be sci-fi content, if you will. The point of my story is that I witnessed such a cool thing, and now I want to know if anybody else who lives in New Mexico, or even outside of New Mexico, has experienced something similar, and if it's been recently. Like, what's going on? Is it a distraction from the government, or is it something else? I don't know about you, but I'm going to continue looking at the sky and wondering what the next thing that I get to witness will be. New Mexico has a long and fascinating history when it comes to UFOs. The most famous incident occurred in 1947 when a mysterious object crashed near Roswell, New Mexico. The US military initially claimed that it was a weather balloon, but many people believe that it was actually a crashed UFO and that the government covered up the incident. Since then, New Mexico has become known as a hotspot for UFO sightings and encounters. In the 1970s, a group of people in the town of Dulce claimed that they had encountered extraterrestrial beings and that the US government was working with them on secret projects. In the years since, there have been numerous UFO sightings and encounters reported throughout the state. And many people continue to believe that the government is covering up information about extraterrestrial life and technology. Today, New Mexico is home to several sites related to UFOs and extraterrestrial life, including the International UFO Museum and Research Center in Roswell. While the truth about UFOs and extraterrestrial life remains elusive, the history of these phenomena in New Mexico is a fascinating and ongoing topic of interest for many people around the world, including myself, obviously. So what do you think? Is this something to spend time pondering about? Is this another government distraction? Is this the end of times as we know it? Or is it just a coincidence? Let me know what you think, and I would also love to know any similar stories that you may have.